Hey guys, Shane again from Pocket Knife Review. I just got in a mail call yesterday when I was super excited about. I've been wanting to own this knife for a while now. Any of you guys in the knife hobby already know what this is. It's the Spyderco Shaman. This is my Shaman. My Shaman happens to be an M4 blade steel with Micarta scales. I don't believe that's a factory variant. I don't think it came that way. In fact, I know this knife didn't come that way because the gentleman I traded for it from informed me that he was doing a blade swap between two different Shamans, and this is what I was going to get. Just a little touch on trading knives online, guys. I know it's a very scary proposition. You put your knife out there, you put it in the mail, and you're hoping that that knife shows up. Give you a few pointers on that in case you don't already know. If you're deep enough into the hobby already to be doing that, just be careful, man. Just, the number one piece of advice I can give you is if you get a bad vibe, just don't do it. And if they can't provide you with vouchers from multiple people that they've done trades with in the past, don't do it. But anyway, this trade went smoothly. My knife came as advertised in about 3 days, so I'm happy. Touch on a few notes about the Spyderco Shaman. It's a very popular knife. It's a larger, what I would consider a fairly hard use work knife. Give you some ideas how big this is. There's your Spyderco Dragonfly, which I know is tiny. That's a very, very small knife. That's my 5th pocket knife. However, it's not the biggest knife Spyderco makes. They also make the Manix XL, which is a little bigger knife. Now, upon first opening this Shaman, the first thing I decided was, because I like my Manix XL a lot, my conclusion was this is a better Manix to me. The reason I say that, and the reason I like the Manix line more than I like the PM2 or some of other Spyderco's offerings, is because it doesn't have the thumb ramp. I don't mind a thumb ramp. The problem with thumb ramp is my hands are so big, especially when I choke up onto this choil that Spyderco is famous for providing. You see where my thumb lands. It lands out over the hole. So on a Spyderco that does have the thumb ramp, when I slide up to there, my thumb awkwardly, if you can see it, it doesn't stick here. I can do that for some precise cutting, but if I have to power through a cut, I want to be here. This is not comfortable. I don't enjoy that. So, that being said, over time I have really come to love the Native series of knives because of the lack of that hump. And as you can see, I don't just own one of the Native series. I own several of the Native series because I like that. If the hump was in a different place, I'd be happy. However, the knife would look stupid if the hump was way out here. So, no fault to Spyderco there. Anyway, back to the Shaman. This knife blew up when it came out. Everybody wanted one. Lots of people still want one. They're rarely ever available online. Every now and then I'll find a serrated version of the Shaman. I've come close to buying that knife because at the moment I don't own a serrated knife. I'm not super excited about EDCing or everyday carrying a serrated knife. However, a serrated knife is a very handy tool to have. It's a very powerful cutter. Lynn Thompson will swear to you that it cuts way deeper than a plain edge knife, and he may be right. And I know that Spyderco serrations do stay sharp a long time. According to a lot of the edge testing you see on OCD for EDC, the serrated knives come out of the box typically sharper than their plain edge knives do. So you'll hear a lot of people badmouth serrated edges. I'll pay attention to that, guys. If you need a knife for occasional use and you're cutting rough materials, let's say you're spending the day, baling hay. Well, let's say you're spending the day feeding cows and you've got to cut the string off of 5 or 500 bales of hay. That serrated blade will do an awesome job at that. You'll be glad you had it on here. I'm going to go over a few specs on this knife. The overall length of this knife is 8¼ inches. It's got a blade length of 3½ inches. My blade steel happens to be an M4. M4 is an awesome tool steel. What you need to know about that, if you don't already, is this a tool still? It is not corrosion resistant. It will rust. This knife requires maintenance. I'm not saying daily maintenance, but it requires maintenance, guys. You need to put something on that blade and on that edge to keep it from rusting and deteriorating on you. Luckily, Spyderco was smart enough on this one that they did coat it. Some people don't like coated blades. If you use a coated blade a lot, you are going to end up having little streaks and little smudges and smears that won't come off. I don't care about that because you guys already know this is a cutting tool to me. This is not pocket jewelry. This is not a fidget knife. I know lots of people like to fidget with their Spydercos, and that's fine. The one thing that I love about this knife is if you do like the Spydy Flick, this is the easiest Spydy Flick knife I've ever experienced. I don't know if it has to do with the ergonomics of the handle that just puts you in that right position, because if you've done any Spydy Flicking, you know it's not about how hard or how fast you can flick that blade out there. It is finding that exact angle to flick that blade out. If you find that right angle when that detent cracks, it's going to fly open. Sorry about the bird there. Anyway, back to the specs. Like I said, it has a 3.5 8-inch blade. So if you have a 3.5-inch blade law wherever you're at, first of all, I would contact Knife Rights, find out what I can do about that. Second of all, you can't carry this knife right now because it's a tad over 3.5 inches, and it can get you stupidly in trouble and possibly thrown in jail. Spyderco does release this knife for right or left hand carry. You can see these 3 holes here that hold the clip on. They are also on the other side of the knife, so you can swap that clip position if you're wrong-handed. So that's good for all the lefties out there. This knife weighs 5.2 ounces. I hear guys all the time talk about, I won't carry a knife over 3 ounces. My advice to that is this knife won't fit in your skinny jeans pocket. Maybe you get your wife to carry it in her purse for you, because 5.2 ounces is not a lot of weight. I have knives that are of similar weight. My Manix XL is not much more, doesn't weigh much more than that. But strangely, I can feel that Manix XL in my pocket all day. Every step I take, every move I make, I feel this knife dangling in my pocket. It's a little bigger, so it's supposed to weigh a little more. It's just right around 6 ounces. Since I've took the copper scales off, which had it at 12, and I never carried it, don't buy copper scales unless you just want to look at them. By the way, hit me up in the comments. I got a set of Manix XL copper scales I will give away if you want them. I put these titanium scales on it so I can carry the knife. Anyway, 5.2 ounces is not a lot of weight. And for some reason, this 5.2 ounces, I literally reach down and touch my pocket to make sure it's there 10, 12 times a day. Now, maybe it's just because I'm so in love with this knife, I'm scared of losing it. But I don't feel it. I don't feel it at all. This knife carries great. You'll notice that it has the factory non-deep carry clip. I like that. Deep carry has become very popular, and I don't have a problem with that. If you like deep carry, so be it. Deep carry your knife. I don't have anything to hide. I'm not in an area where people are going to freak out if they see a pocket knife in my pocket. I'll tell you why I don't. If I have some knives in deep carry, guys, and I don't mind them so much, but just so you can see the difference between shallow and deep carry, this knife, this much of the knife is going to be sticking out of your pocket. This knife, nearly nothing is going to be sticking out of your pocket. However, some of you already know, some of you don't, but I have neuropathy in my hands from being an idiot, not taking care of myself, and letting diabetes ravage my nerves and my blood vessels. But anyway, because of that, with a deep carry knife, when I go to take it out of my pocket, you see what I have to grab hold of, which is the clip. So when I reach down and access the knife like this to try to slide it out of my pocket, I'm actually putting pressure on the clip. I'm clamping it down onto that fat seam of my blue jeans. And guys, I wear Carhartt blue jeans a lot. It is the worst pair of blue jeans ever made for carrying a pocket knife. That seam is super thick and super hard. It's hard to get a knife in and out of your pocket with those, which makes no sense because it's a work pant. In my opinion, any blue collar worker needs a pocket knife. But anyway, what I like about the non-deep carry clip is that when I go to grab the knife, I have a substantial real estate to grab hold of the knife without applying pressure to the pocket clip. I can slide the knife out. So when I have a deep carry knife that I like to carry a lot, I end up putting a lanyard on it and giving you pocket knife elitists something else to make fun of. Guys, one thing I want to say is, this knife's been out for a good while now, and I've wanted one for a while now, and couldn't obtain it. And the reason why I couldn't obtain it wasn't because they're constantly sold out. As this knife is in the Spyderco Millie Club on Facebook for sale all the time, for sale or trade. It's everywhere for sale or trade. You can get this knife if you want it. The reason why I was incapable of purchasing this knife is because I'd got into the habit of buying 2 or 3 of these a week, sending all my money to a country that would like to see us dead. And I quit doing that because, not for political reasons, even though there are many. I quit doing that because I realized that if I just stopped buying a few of those and usually might spend a little income on something like that, I could save up a little bit and buy something like this. Now, I didn't buy this knife, I traded for it. However, I did trade in another American-made knife that I paid my money, my cash for. And once again, one of the highlights to owning this knife is that it's made by Spyderco. Come from Denver, Colorado. It was probably put together by a bunch of potheads who are earning a living for their family. And I like that. I like that idea. I like knowing that my money contributed to the financial gain of an American household. I take pride in that, and you should too. And whenever you get a chance to buy American, do it. If you can't afford an American-made knife, hey man, I understand. Do what you got to do, get you a knife. But if you're like me and you ended up with a collection of 30, 40, 50, 100 of those other guys' knives, there's no excuse. I can't afford an American-made knife. It's a lie. If you afforded 40 Chinese knives, you can afford an American-made knife and have a better knife and have the pride of knowing that you supported the American economy, you supported the American man, you supported the American little man. If you haven't watched the Spyderco story, Sal Glesser's story and how he started Spyderco and how he's turned it into the huge company it is now, I highly encourage you to go do that. Even if you don't like Spyderco, guys, if you like America and you like American stories, and you like hearing about a man with some ambition and a dream and a work ethic, work towards something and build something that he's now passing down to his son, and hopefully his son will pass it down to his children. Guys, that's what it's all about, man. That's the American dream, and I like supporting that. So, say what you want about Spyderco. There are guys that hate them. There are guys that say they're too expensive. This knife is about $250 in its standard configuration with G10 scales and S30V blade. Absolutely nothing wrong with an S30V blade. Is it worth $250? No, it's not. A full dressed Riot with titanium scales and M390 blade is not heat treated or has edge retention even close to this does is also not worth $250. It's just not. If you pile those materials up, add them all together, and what they pay the labor to make it, considering they're spitting out dozens an hour, it's not worth that. This knife's also not worth that. I won't sit here in line and try to convince you that it is. But, no knife's worth that. This knife's nearly $100. Look at it. I mean, just look at it. This knife's made in Japan with the, some super cheap Nome plastic scales, a little back lock, and a tiny blade. So get over that. There's a difference between cheap and economical and bargain and a value. I believe this has value because it's got good materials and it was made by Americans in America and supports the American economy. That's all I got for you guys tonight. I appreciate your time. Anytime you spend a minute with me or 20 minutes with me out of your busy day, that means something to me, and I really, really appreciate it. Last thing I'm going to cover, I'm going to try to cover it on all my reviews, is does it make sense? This knife, I'm going to give a definite yes, it makes sense. Why do I think it makes sense? Well, it's got a fairly tough blade stock. It's not super thick. You want to know how thick it is? It's about that dang thick. I don't know mics, don't care about that. It's got a good, hard steel blade that holds an edge for a very long time. It's got ergonomic handles. The handles allow for hard use. This blade is made for hard use. It's got a good, dependable locking system that is easy to access, easy to open and close one-handed. To me, there's really nothing about this knife that doesn't fit. It doesn't have a super strong lock system with a sissy skinny thin blade. It doesn't have a super thick blade with a tiny little stop pin. This knife makes sense to me, and that's important. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you for your time. Peace out. Love y'all.